So we're going to show you how to do a compression test on the Toyota diesel motors. First thing you're going to need is a kit. You can get this from eBay, Amazon, any online retailer. But it's a special compression tester kit because this goes up to 1000 psi. And you have your injector adapters here and your glow plug adapters here. So you'd remove your glow plugs and then thread this in, attach the tester to it. Very similar to gas model or petrol motor, but instead of spark plugs we have glow plugs. So the injectors are a little bit harder to get out, which is why we recommend doing the glow plugs. These are those little yellow caps. Unfortunately there's one or two under this intake pipe, so we're going to have to take this off and some other stuff to give us the room. But first step, you can unscrew these little yellow caps. They just unscrew like a normal nut. These are available any Toyota dealer, so don't worry. Try not to break them, but obviously if you do break them, they're available stateside or online for $1 or $2 each. This wire here, once you remove this, you probably want to tape this just to make sure this doesn't short out on any metal parts when you're cranking the engine over. And like I said, unfortunately there's two. One we might be able to get to on the other side, but there's one definitely kind of right under here. These look like 12 millimeter, 10 or 12 millimeter, these nuts. And then this rail, this metal rail connects all the glow plugs, so you want to undo these and then lift the rail off. And then we can do them one by one, the adapter. Now as far as this goes, there's four what looks like 12 millimeter nuts on top. This is a rubber gasket in between, so don't worry about ripping a paper gasket. Typically these rubber ones last quite a while, so you should be able to reuse it. Just looking at this here, looks like these throttle cables and everything we can kind of set aside. There is like a vacuum valve back here. I don't know if that's attached to this. I don't think so. Maybe it is. We might have to just remove that part, but we'll see. And then the other side we've got just like a coupler with a clamp that attaches to the turbo outlet. So let's start over here. It's 12 millimeter. It's for these. They've actually got like a metal washer and then like a rubber spacer, so they're on there incredibly tightly. And as far as the compression test itself, if the car is running fine, there's no smoke, it starts cold fine, starts hot fine, there's typically not going to be a reason to even do a compression test. However, if you're selling the vehicle, the buyers may just want that for a peace of mind, or sometimes it's just easier for them to articulate and reason with hard facts of a good compression results versus you trying to explain, if the car starts and runs fine, the compression is fine. Some people just want that answer. So these are off. I guess we'll just switch over for now. I know this is attached, but we'll switch over to the other side now. Just a little bit easier on the clamp, and we'll get that side off. Here's the opposite side of that pipe. You can see right down here towards the bottom, we've got two clamps. It appears you can just squeeze this together, and it looks like it may, it's a pretty wide clamp. It may, once you squeeze it, it might lock, so you can remove it. So I need two hands for that, and then we're going to have to remove this nut here for this pipe, whatever that is, vent, crankcase vent or valve cover vent. And then over here we'll have to remove that solenoid, and then I'll have to peek and see how that's attached. But for now, let me get this nut over here and then this coupler. So as you can see, I got this clamp on top. I just moved it off the rubber coupler. Now this whole pipe is actually loose. We're just going to have to loosen. I'm nixing this idea of taking this pipe off. The pipe's coming with the upper pipe, crossover pipe. We're just going to undo this clamp and pull this rubber hose off. I've already got the rubber hose off the valve cover here. 150,000 miles. These are still pliable, so I'm happy with that. Don't have to replace every rubber hose in the engine bay. We'll take a look at the sticker, see what that says once we get this off, because it is in English, surprisingly. But now I think we need to move over to the other side again. Okay, so up here, it looks like if we take off this connector, like that, and some of these vacuum lines, as long as I remember which one goes where, don't mix them up. Should probably take this off of here, up the opposite side. Okay, now we just got these two more. Take care not to break these little plastic nipples, because that's a bad situation. Now on top of the adapter, I'm actually pulling these washers off, because those go kind of sandwiched above the thing. You don't want to lose those. I don't want to drop them in the abyss of the thing. Oh, look at this. One more connector here. This is all right. This isn't too bad. What am I missing? Okay, we're still on that hose. I'm gonna have to detach these throttle cables. Bear with me. Everyone knows how to detach a throttle cable, I hope. Typically, you just move the throttle to maximum, and then you can work the cable. I apologize, you can't see anything I'm doing, but you just kind of work the cable out of the keeper or the hole. Sometimes they can really mess with you, like this one. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere here. Okay. Oops, darn it. Let's go back over here. I have this one more plug here to undo. There we go. Put that aside. Look at that. Easy, 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 easy. All right, now I've got this rubber line, like I mentioned, on the other side. However, we can pretty much, I wonder if we can leave this in here. Yeah, we can probably just turn this aside and set that right there. That should give us enough room in here. Now, this, I don't know if there's any kind of cleaning regimen to clean this throttle plate. It's not too sooty. It looks okay. Here's that rubber gasket, which is super pliable still, so that should be good to reuse. Okay, it's pretty sooty, so I don't know how well this is going to come off. Question is, why is this so sooty here? Where's it coming from? Basically says, do not remove the glow plug except for replacement. Check the glow plug without removing. Measure the compression pressure in the... Oh. Measure the... I think it's basically telling me not to take the... Yeah, this is basically saying check the compression in the nozzle hole, which is interesting. I wonder why that is. Because a lot of online documentation says, you know, glow plug is fine. So that's interesting. If anyone knows, let me know why it recommends against using the glow plug for the compression. Okay, so here we are. Now I need to get these the bus bar out and then the glow plugs. Okay, so we got our 10 millimeter, and there shouldn't be any voltage going to this now. It's only when you power on the motor and crank it over, I'm assuming. Probably only when you click the ignition key to on for that few seconds is when it actually energizes this rail. This is a cold motor. I mean, it's 70 degrees outside, or ambient, I guess, so I didn't want to start the motor, warm it up, and then have to work on a hot engine. I think the results will still be fine. We just have to note that it's on a cold motor, and I can actually leave that on there. And the consistency between cylinders is what we're concerned with, so that's going to be the same on a cold motor or hot motor. You just don't want discrepancy between each cylinder. You don't want this to be 400, this to be 300. That would be a problem. The only thing I think of on why they say don't remove this is because you could break them, maybe, because they're just smaller or seized in there. I don't know. I don't have no idea. Or it's too... I don't know if this circuit has to be grounded. It's possible that when you turn the ignition on and these aren't grounded out, you might damage the glow plug circuit. So I'll have to, I don't know, check Google or YouTube or something and see if we can just let this thing dangle, or what we got to do here. I guess worst case, we remove the glow plugs, bolt them back into the bus bar, and kind of have it loose so they can do their thing and it won't damage anything. So here's your bus bar. Put this aside. Now I think that's what I'll do just to be safe. Similar to how you don't want to crank an engine over with the coil packs or the plug wires detached from the spark plugs. You always want to do that compression test with the plug wire on the spark plug even after you remove it. So maybe similar concept. So these look like probably 12s. Let me check that. And yeah, comes right out, no big deal. Again, it's the benefit of getting low mileage Japanese cars, because you're not looking at the rust and corrosion, and obviously much lower miles means you're not going to have problems getting parts like these out. Make sure nothing goes into the hole. Obviously, as you remove this, probably grab a can of brake cleaner while I'm here and just hose that down a little bit, make sure it's clean. There we go. Before we fully remove it. Of course, it gets tight right at the end. Can't do it by hand. And these typically don't need to be replaced. I mean, unless you're having problems. What I will do though is clean this off with a wire wheel, get this nice and shiny again, and probably good as new. So that's it. I'm going to do the other three, and then I'll probably stick them back on here and kind of isolate this while we do our test. Okay, now from a few other videos, I believe this is the fuel shutoff valve or switch. So hopefully it is. It does look like it's also leaking. So we might have to pop this jam nut off and see if this sensor can be sealed, or if there's an O-ring on there or something. But it looks like it's been sitting a while. It kind of seeps out. So two issues with this we'll address in another video. This up here, and then the timing control valve on the bottom. It's got to be swapped out. Looks like this truck was stored or sitting for a while, which could explain that. But we've got this gauge screwed in, and we've got this unplugged, and the glow plugs are doing their thing together. So we're going to crank this over and see what happens. Okay, this looks pretty good. We're right at about 500, so we'll document that and move on to the second. So that's it. That's your compression test. Again, if you're so inclined, you could do a cold test, then do a hot test, warm up the truck and get hot numbers. But again, as we saw, the results are pretty much all as expected. The truck runs perfectly fine. There's no weird noises or misses, or it's not down on power. And those are the things you kind of want to ultimately stick to, because a compression test won't tell you if there's problems with fueling, airflow, the turbocharger, wiring, if there's, those problems. It'll tell you the motor's good itself, but it's not going to tell you if the motor is going to run well. So I'll show you this little adapter and then we'll wrap it up. But again, these are M12 by 1.25, so keep that in mind when you're looking for your kit. And here it is, a little shorter one in the kit. Only threads to about there. And that's it. So I'm going to button everything back up, same as how we took everything out. Here's our glow plug adapter and bus bar, just in case. Keep it all together. Like I said, I don't know if that activates or not when you're cranking. And I think in a future video we're going to take a look at this top sensor here. See if we can stop this leaking in between the sensor and the nut. I've read a few fixes on this. Some people put like pipe thread tape or diesel safe or fuel safe tape. That fixed it. I don't know if the sensor itself comes with like some kind of coated threads or something that seals it, but we'll take a look at that. And like I said, the timing control valve, which is on the bottom, that'll be in another video I have, a totally separate repair. But like over time and sitting, some of these components will tend to leak, so you have to keep an eye on that. But that concludes the compression test. If you have any questions or if I did anything wrong or grossly wrong or anything you would do different, let me know in the comments. And as always, please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.